So are you evil or are you player? Fresh true player. You're a cool guy, man. Okay. All right. So let's just see what you do here. So IMO. So basically on Tracer as soon as possible. Literally as soon as you can. Every single time you're playing Tracer. You want to be looking for ways. Dude, what is happening? Player. Huh. Oh, what's the black screen? Oh, that's because my webcam was supposed to be on the desktop slide, but it's not there. Anyway, so this is what I'm looking at right now, it turns out. Okay. Yeah, so see what you did here, what you're doing is kind of you're facing the team. If you are looking at the enemy team and they are looking at the same direction as you, you're probably in the wrong position because where you should be is over here on the off angle. Oh my god, I don't know how to use the spectator, but you want to be on the off angle over here because you want to be able to control this health pack, and you want to be able to off angle on Tracer in general. Because if you're over here, what can often happen? Like let's say they're on a just lands a random like shoots a random sleep or throws a nade, or their Lucio spams an angle, or their Sigma shoots or they don't have a Sigma, it's a Ramatra. If their Ramatra just is spamming, or literally any number of things. Like what if they had a Hanzo and you didn't know that yet, and you're just standing here and he's spamming, and you are here. Why is she looking like? But then I have no blinks left. Yes, but that's okay. That's okay. You need to understand as Tracer when it's okay to use your blinks and when you should be waiting for them. And how you do that is by simply understanding where you want to go. And in that case, where you want to go is here, so that you can wait for your blinks again, so you can go to the next place you want to go, which is here, which will take one more blink. You do a little bit of poking here. Let's say multiple things can happen. Either they stay here and our team and your team stays over here, and their front line pokes at your front line pretty much indefinitely until someone like hits a good shot, or someone lands a nade, or anything happens that actually facilitates the other team to get a decisive advantage in the fight. But so if that happens, what you can do is you can keep poking, and once you realize that that is how the course of the fight is going, you can continue to wait for your blinks while poking, and eventually make your way to not just an off angle, but a flank, which is your ultimate goal as Tracer. Because if you successfully off-angled and baited their attention while using your resources to successfully push into a position that's behind them, they would have to turn around in order to use resources on you while you're shooting them in the back, leaving your team facing them. But what if they dive me? If they dive you here, first of all, you should be aware of what they have on their team. As soon as possible as Tracer. Your first goal as Tracer is to scout and then set up. So you scout before you decide your positioning, because your positioning is dependent on multiple factors, including their team comp and whether or not they have heroes who will contest you in certain positions and dive you. For instance, if their team was playing in here, let's say there was a fight happening here. Your team's here, their team's here. You could either play from here. You could either play from here. You could play around this pillar. And there's multiple factors that contribute to whether or not any of those positions is better than the other. For instance, like if I came out here and saw they had a Widow standing up here, waiting for my team to just, anyone on my team just like peek this angle so that they could get a dink, I'm obviously not going to choose to position myself here on an off angle. Instead, I'll position myself probably here, because even if the Widow drops, I can still rotate around this little pillar as cover from both the enemy team and my team. But let's say they didn't have a Widow, and let's say they had a Kree, and their Kree was like right here. with his team, and there was no one here, then you could easily play this angle because their Kree is going to be looking for you here, and if you play here, he can easily just chase you around the corner, and still be in range of an LOS of his healers. But if you play here, in order to contest you, he has to literally walk outside here, and if their supports are, let's say, here, all of a sudden they can't see him anymore. So that's where I'm positioning before the fight. So let's say you're coming out of the point. I usually just, like 90% of the time I'm playing this map, I go this way. I don't go out into the open. Because what's your number one goal on Tracer before you engage? Not to get scouted. You don't want to get scouted by the enemy team. Ideally, you don't want them to know you have a Tracer at all, but like in the first fight. If that's not possible, then at the very least, you don't want them to know when you're going to engage and where you're going to engage from. So the way to do that is by optimizing your pathing such that you're least likely to, be seen by anyone. If they do have a dive hero that you weren't able to scout for whatever reason, and by the way, the way you scout without having to see them, because you don't want to see them necessarily, because that gives them a chance to see you. The way you scout them is by paying attention with your ears. You can probably pick up on every single hero they have by the sounds of the footsteps and the sounds of their shots within the first 15 seconds of the game, before you even can press tab and see what they have. But let's say they do have something that dives you. You're literally just on a mega. And if you've been managing your blinks correctly, you'll triple blink out of health. You'll triple blink out of the spawn. And you'll be about here. By the time you have about 2 more blinks, you'll have 1 more blink to cross here. And then you just keep going here. You just play here, and you wait for more blinks. And when you have 3 blinks, and you're in a flank position, meaning you're not at a 90-degree angle from them, but you're approximately behind them. So I would consider this a flank because you're beside the Junkrat, but you're flanking pretty much you're behind the rest of their team essentially. And from this honest perspective, it's definitely a flank. So let's continue. So basically, what I would do instead of going it this way is just literally. And don't do this just with this map, obviously. Think about this with every map. There are certain points where flanking is extremely difficult. And as Tracer, if you don't optimize your pathing, it pretty much you're hard throwing just by selecting the hero. Because unless you do this exact positioning on certain points, it becomes impossible. And the way you discover what the positioning is just by figuring out any way you can manage your blinks to slowly get to a position where you're finally behind them without using all of your blinks at any given point, because you need to save at least 1 in case they do engage upon you and you need to escape. Anyway, let's just go back. But pretty much the general point I think you should take from that is that to be more aware of your pathing and not getting scouted before the fight starts, and using your resources to safely take positioning while continue to poke and bait attention while you're setting up. Because if you play in this position that you were playing in, or even if you end up here at all, to be honest, in the first fight, this is already a significant disadvantage if their Tracer was flanking. Because imagine their Tracer was like here already at this point. Then by the time you are basically you're just going to be stuck poking at their front line and potentially taking damage, and they're going to be here poking at your Ana. Their Ana's going to turn, miss the sleep. The Tracer's going to blink here, poke her a bit more. She's going to nade to try to save herself because she has a Lucio, because she doesn't have any really that much healing from a Lucio. And the Lucio is going to be trying to speed in this Ryan past the choke so that they don't give up too much space from your team. Your Ana's going to die, and GG. Yeah. Pretty much that's how it goes. So basically your goal on Tracer, if they have a Tracer and their tracer is working to try to pressure your backline, is you need to be doing the same thing, and you need to be doing it better than they are, essentially. You need to be setting up in positions more efficiently than them. You need to have better mechanics than them, potentially, so that you more efficiently and more reliably can actually get the kills. And you also have to engage at the right timings, so that you optimize your, or you like maximize your chance of actually getting value. When should you force the other tracer's recall versus going for the backline? When their tracer engages too early. So like, here's a good example of that. Let's say you're playing tracer, you blink out a spawn, you're coming over here, and you literally, every time you get a blink, you're just using it to get over here. And now you're over here and you have literally 0 blinks and you're fighting right here, and this you're playing tracer properly, so you're only right here, just kind of poking, and you see, wait, how is their tracer already in our backline? There's no way she should be able to do that. That gives you all the information you need to know that she has no abilities and that she can easily be pressured. So you just literally say, oh shit, there's a tracer. Use one of your blinks. Poke, poke, poke. She recalls. She's probably back here. Poke, poke, poke again. Oh, you didn't get the mega because you were out of position and you used all your blinks. I got the mega and you're dead, bitch. And then you say, and then you teabag them and win the game. Make them recall when they're flanking. Yeah, if you contest them, like say they match your flank and you both meet up here, you should want to force their recall, or you should want to like try to find avenues by which you don't have to engage the tracer. You can choose to be a duelist and just like take the 1v1s with the tracer all game, or you can choose to try to ignore her, bait her attention, and just go for her backline instead. And to be honest, that is by far like the superior strategy. If a tracer is like chasing me around the map the whole game, unless I'm trying to ego them or something, I will just like try to ignore them and go for their backline, because she will like tickle me for like 7 clips straight, and I'll kill their Ana, and then I'll recall and I'll be out, and she'll just be like, wow, I just wasted my time. Whereas if I just choose to 1v1 her, then probably what's going to happen is we're going to poke at each other until we use our recall, and then we're going to run away, and no one's going to get any real value. I guess the person who saves the recall gets some value, but it's not as much as you can get if you just flank, you know, and like contest their backline, pressure their tank when necessary, that kind of thing. Anyway, let's move on and not get too hung up on this, because like we need to actually get through this at some point. One thing I want to talk to you about mechanically is crosshair placement. Your crosshair placement isn't terrible. But like, there are certain things. Look at how low your crosshair tends to be, especially in between clips. You like to flick down a lot between clips. And what you should do is try to maximize the amount of time you don't have to move your mouse vertically. If you can horizontal aim most of the time, that is best, because if you just keep your crosshair at head level all the time and just track left right, that's just like, you're doing so much more damage, and it's just efficiency of motion too. But your crosshair is often a lot lower than it needs to be, I'm noticing. But yeah, like firstly, dude, I can't. I need my mouse to show up for me. Firstly, target priority, because you start shooting the Sigma when there's, or the Ramatra when there's Ana there at first. And maybe, you know, if you were shooting the Ana from the very beginning, it's possible that actually turns into some sort of value. And the other thing is just crosshair placement, because right, dude, I'm really bad at using this. But right when you blink, you want to have it on the corner. Like right here, you see how you're facing straight ahead because you're going to blink? What you can do is just have your crosshair already aimed kind of at the Ana, and then just do a blink to the right instead. So you would be like facing here, facing like this, and you just blink to the right, so that you end up about here, and your crosshair's already, you just have to do a small flick to adjust your crosshair onto the target. And that makes it way easier for you to allocate targets. So you could, instead of just doing a straight blink here and then turning all the way, you can just like have your crosshair here, blink, and then your crosshair is pretty much already on target, and it's much faster. That's just a mechanical thing though. You don't need to flick after you blink. Not necessarily. Like if you're like here and you blink behind the Lucio, obviously you're going to need to 180 and flick to him. But there are other times where I will blink here and also like to the side of them and also do a flick. But if it's something like you're like right here and you're not like pretty much no matter where you go, you're gonna be still in front of them and not either beside them or behind them. So if you blink any direction from here, you're gonna end up somewhere where this guy is still in front of you, like this. And you just have to understand which type of blink is best. Do you want to do a straight on blink and blink closer to him? Do you want to end up over here, in which case you could do a blink to the right, and just what you do is you blink to the right, and you like this is pretty much how you have to explain it. You blink to the right while moving your crosshair in the direction of your target, so you're still tracking them while blinking essentially. So pretend this was a blink happening in slow motion. Like I'm just kind of following them as I'm blinking, and I'm not just blinking doing straight blinks, because if I do a straight blink here, then it takes me here and I have to flick to him. But if I'm here and I adjust my crosshair onto him and then blink with a right blink, I end up here still, but my crosshair is already onto him much faster. It's much easier to aim that way too, because when you're already here and like this guy, well, like the closer you get to someone, the faster they're moving across your screen. So if you're here and their Lucio's there, he's going to be through this doorway in about a split second. So not only do you have to flick to there, you have to flick to there and track him through this doorway within like a quarter of a second. But if you are already like this, you pretty much just have to go like a little movement with your mouse. It's much easier. Shit. Player, let's go. But yeah, you're looking at the ground a lot, and that's just makes it harder for you to hit headshots, and just pretty much makes it so you do less damage overall, and it makes your aiming harder too. So I just recommend trying to keep your crosshair at head level, like almost most of the time. Nice one clip, dude. Fucking rolled that clown. You have nice tracking. It would be just even better. It would be even better if you had a better crosshair placement. So I pretty much agree with what you're doing here. Not using your recall, because you know you can use your blinks to get to the health pack and getting behind them and forcing them to kind of their supports to kind of retreat. Yep, keep poking that on, huh? Okay, their Lucio's doing a good job focusing here. Perfect. Yeah, like obviously you're a Masters player, so there are going to be times through this game where I'm just gonna be like, yeah, you're doing it well. What about jumping? He seems to be jumping a lot. I don't have such a problem with it here because they're playing Junkrat and Tracer and Lucio and Ramatra. Like if they had any hit scan, I would be harping on them a lot for jumping. But the fact that there's it's just a bad habit. It is, and it isn't. There are situations in which jumping actually is very beneficial. Jumping for no reason, yeah. To be honest, it is not. It's like not the worst thing, to be honest, but it is a bad habit. But I literally have seen Overwatch League tracers who jump for absolutely no reason because they know that the enemy has no hit scan that they have to be worried about. I'm gonna go back a little bit here, but yeah, it does make it slightly harder to aim when you jump too. So keep that in mind. I do try not to jump myself. Nice. I have nothing really to say about that fight, to be honest. The way you engaged Diana wasn't ideal, to be honest, actually. And I'll explain to you a concept as to why. So you use both your blinks to get onto the point, which is really bad, because what if there was like someone who was looking here who could actually kill you? Like, what if this Ana was in your LOS and she just slept you immediately? You really, and this is something that every Tracer player like knows, but you need to save one blink at all times for an emergency. Like, it's not like something that you can get away with like doing 90% of the time. It has to be 100%. Like 100% of the time, you always have one. The only time you shouldn't have a blink is if you already just used it for your emergency, essentially. The other thing, right here. Unless this Ana was scoped in, this is a really, really bad engage. Like, if she was scoped in and looking, like, somewhere in a different direction, that would be one thing. But she's looking right at you. You have 0 blinks, because you just used her last one to blink into her face, where she should immediately sleep you if she was better. You don't want to blink directly into players. You want to blink to the side. And ideally, if you're limited with your resources, like here you don't have any blinks, you do have your recall, but you don't want to just like use one clip where this guy is just going to nade you and throw sleep at you and you're going to have to recall immediately, because then you just get no value for the next 12 seconds until you have recall again. So what I would have done here is I would have used my blink to come here instead of double blinking onto point. So I would still have one more blink. And then when I had 2 blinks, I would use one, and I would come over here. What if recall gave you blinks, your blinks back? They actually did that in an experimental back in Overwatch 1, where Tracer, when she recalled, got all her blinks back. That was the thing. But yeah, so I would use one of my blinks. Yeah, no, it was broken as fuck. I remember it just getting like 5Ks every fight when that patch was out, because it was just, you were immortal essentially on Tracer. So yeah, you come here, you have 1 blink left. You wait till you have 2 blinks. You use 1. You blink out to the center here. You shoot this Ana. If she tries to sleep, you just blink behind the corner. If she misses you, you keep shooting her. If she hits you, you blink to this corner. And then there's 2 options. Depending on how low she is, and if she has used her nade, you can either take the risk of either peeking here and like finishing her off, but she might shoot you twice. So if you've been shot twice by Ana, she was buffed, so you will die. So you can either just do that, or you can even like do something fancy like blink through here and end up behind her and melee her, which will minimize your risk more. Last but not least, if she's not low enough that you can guarantee you killing her before she gets that last shot off that she needs on you, then you don't re-engage. You just come over here, grab your mini. You still have your recall because you didn't waste it blinking into her face like this. And you can come back and pressure her, and she still won't have her nade or sleep back yet. So even though she'll probably have gotten healed by that point and be full HP, you'll still be at advantage in resources. And when it comes to Overwatch, whoever has the most resources wins. That's how the game works. Resources are like your firepower, and they allow you to take space. And if you have more resources than the enemy team, you take more space, and you gain more resources in the form of good positioning. And those resources just like snowball on top of each other, and eventually their team is just in an insurmountably bad position. And in high ranks, that's how fights are won or lost. It's not just by someone being completely stupid like it is in like gold. Also a little tidbit here. This is a very important lesson to learn. The very important lesson to learn on Tracer. And also not just Tracer, all heroes actually, is anticipating your enemy's intentions. So to me, when I see this Lucio go out here, I wouldn't use both my blinks to chase him. You don't always need to chase. This is the whole point of what I'm about to get at, is you don't need to chase. You just need to anticipate where they're going and then find the most efficient methods to meet them where they're going to be based on their trajectory. So like this Lucio, from his movement, you would assume that he's about to come around here. He doesn't actually do that, but I think pretty much any Tracer player, like any Overwatch League Tracer player, would 100% of the time see that Lucio with like half HP or whatever, yeah, coming around here, and they would blink here because this Lucio is probably trying to, you know, continue on the trajectory that is indicated by his body language at the time. Now, this Lucio did a good job actually doing the right thing, which is instead of committing to one direction or the other, he actually waited here and waited to see his enemy's intentions. So that was just well played by their Lucio. Well, let's keep going. Yeah, I'm sure you understand, but I'm just clumsy at explaining things. Anyway, that's... Oh. Yeah, so, when you're crossing a choke like this, especially since you just heard their Junkrat shoot, right, here, yeah, you heard him shoot, and you're crossing the choke from their spawn. No, you cover a lot, you're explaining good, thanks. But yeah, you know they're coming from spawn, because you just won the fight, and this is where they're going to be coming. So, like, you definitely just don't want to, like, walk past this corner. Ideally, if you want to scout it, you can do a quick jiggle peek and be like, oh, there's a Ramatra and a Junkrat, because they're Junkrat. You're going to be able to see them in a second. But you can see the Ramatra, at least for now, and be like, okay. But I heard the Junkrat shoot, and he's probably spamming here, because, like, where else would a Junkrat be spamming at this time? So you instead of just walking across, you blink across, and blinking across places where there are no cover is how you have to use your blinks when maneuvering around the map. Because right here you could have easily died. Like pretend that Junkrat had a damage boost or something, like you would have just insta died. Or if you got like hit by something else at the same time. Poked by the Ramatra, perhaps. Who knows? But yeah, okay. Right here, you don't know what their intentions are. You don't know if they're going to push main or if they're going to push here onto you. And that is indicative of bad positioning on Tracer, to be honest. And I don't mean that in a flaming sense. But if you have no clue whether or not their team is going to just directly push into you, then that's bad. Because like if they let's say their team isn't an AI and they're actually grouped up here and their Lucio speed boosts around this corner right at you, there's a very good chance you're gonna die even though you have all your abilities, just because you won't be able to react in time, honestly. And even if you don't die, you don't want to have to use all your abilities to just blink away and be like over here when the fight starts. You want to be set up such that you don't have to maneuver while the fight is going on when you're defending. You don't want to be like setting up during the fight when you're defending. This is how do you think of positioning on a Tracer. If you're defending, meaning you have control of the point, you want to be set up before the fight starts because you want to make it as difficult as possible for them to take the space that they want to take without using resources or just, you getting a pick or anything like that. So since there are two possible ways for them to contest the objective, one is for them to come here, and the other is for them to come here. You should be in neither of those paths. What I do pretty much every time I've won a fight on Tracer on this point is I come up here, and I use this lion as a to help me blink up here. No, I don't like I don't like setup at the same place. Oh, but you haven't set up here before, have you? And but literally, you can set up in the same place, because there's really only one good place to set up on this map, to be honest. And it's up here. It's up here, because what if their Sojourn comes here? What if your team is taking a fight here? What if their Widow comes here? What if their Ashe comes here? Anything. And they're on the high ground, and like you might say, well, this is a decent position because well, I can still contest their backline. I'm on a flank. Yeah, but how is anyone supposed to contest the Sojourn on high ground, or whatever it is on high ground? You need to be able to contest them on high ground yourself, and as a hero that has limited no vertical mobility, you need to be set up in advance. If you're on attack, however, it's very different, because you cannot just set up before the fight starts when you're on attack, because by definition, if you're on attack on Koth, that means you just lost the fight and you're coming back from spawn, so you can't be set up. So what you have to do on attack is much different. What you do on attack is you slowly use your resources, and this is the same thing I was talking about in the beginning, slowly using your resources to try to take the space that you need back from them again. The defender's advantage comes from the fact that you already have that resource of good positioning from the very beginning of the fight. That's why it's harder to win a fight as an attacker than a defender. It's because they have the luxury of positioning before the fight begins. Yeah. So you fail to climb the line. That's just something you have to practice. And I'm not gonna really harp on you for mechanical skills unless it's something that you can easily fix, like what I was talking about with your crosshair placement, where you could just hold it a little higher. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, like I also, with your pulse bombs, you want to make them as easy as possible. I'm not a great example, because I like to farm clips a lot. But if I'm really trying to win, I will go just for the easiest pulse bombs. I won't try to fucking triple blink 180 pulse bomb an Ana or a Kriko who's 80 strafing and has probably both her abilities. But what I would do, like, just imagine you were here and that Ana was still here. Then she wouldn't be able to anticipate you pulse bombing her. She would just be standing here and just blink pulse. And it's much easier than here seeing a Junkrat in your face. Oh my god, I gotta blink again, and then just flubbing your pulse. You wanna have a plan, essentially. You wanna have a plan. You wanna be like, okay, so they're going to come through here. They're going to probably walk left, or their supports are definitely gonna come through here no matter what. So basically, if I just stand here, then when their team is rotating, and rotation is the time you want to use your abilities on someone. Because think about it this way: Overwatch is a game of playing cover until you have the resources to push into open space in order to take the space that you need to. So let's say this Reinhardt didn't have shield and he was here, he wouldn't be able to walk forward, but once he has a shield again, he can help his team cross. And the optimal time to engage is when they're crossing open space, because that is the time when they're forced to commit to go somewhere, essentially. And when they're forced to actually commit to positioning, meaning they can't just like go like this and 80 strafe you and stare at you for 30 seconds because their team is already, walked all the way over here, and now she's alone. Her movement's going to be worse. She's going to be more predictable. Everything will be easier about landing the pulse bomb if two things are true. They're in the process of rotating from cover to open, through open space to the next cover, which I guess would be here. And then when they have more resources again, they can finally contest the point, perhaps. But if they're rotating and their Ana is not aware that you are here, let's say you're just here, their Ana is not aware, so much easier to land the pulse bomb when she's walking through the space, because let's say she's walking through here and she decides, oh shit, this tracer about to pulse bomb me, I better take this, I better fight off this tracer, let me 80 strafe and have good movement. Oh wait, my team's already on point. My team doesn't have any support because my other DPS is Lucio. Yeah. You're fucked. And the only good way, the only way Ana will be able to not die in that situation is either if you miss your pulse, or if she anticipates, if you can have good movement while continuing to walk through open space. It's just much harder, and it's also lessens the efficiency of your movement, because let's say if you're walking through open space and you take a direct route, like going like this, you spend much less time in open space than if you're like here and you're like, oh shit, I got to 80 strafe a little bit, got to 80 strafe, and eventually you finally make it to where you need to go. But by that time, you've been in open space for so long, and the Ashe player who's sitting over here or something is just like tap, and you're dead because you couldn't just like instantly walk around this corner out of his LOS. I didn't know I did this many positioning mistakes. There's an easier fix than you might think. And really 90% of it is just when you're defending to try to set up on high ground and behind them. Those are the two criteria. Being behind them is more important than being on high ground, I think, on Tracer. But ideally, you want to be on high ground and behind them. On defense, obviously, you can't just magically appear in that position when you're attacking. But that is the ultimate position for a Tracer player, is to be above on high ground. Or behind on high ground. That's what I meant. Behind and above. That's what I meant. Okay. I recognize so much from you saying. I'm glad. Yeah, dude, I know. This lion is so hard. It's so hard to get up the lion. No, I feel that though. Nice tracking. No, you should chase him! Chase him! Criminal. Criminal. Sorry. You just had a really nice clip on him. Their Ana is not fucking going to heal him. Wherever this is. Yeah. What you do is you literally blink right in front of him right here, because he's half HP. And you blink here. And he's going to he's forced to either run to the Mega, in which case he's going to walk in a straight line, you just kill him instantly. Or he's going to have to come back here to get into the LOS of his Ana, who's not even there yet. And even if she was, you just body block her shot by playing here. You literally just blink down, and you play in front of him so that he can't get healed. You might take some damage from the Ana, but this Lucio's already won. You just like do half a clip and kill him and recall, and then you're back on high ground. And then this Ana dies too. But yeah, the fact that you didn't commit on this target when he's drastically out of position, is Ana's not even in the LOS. And he's already half HP because you had some really nice tracking on him. If I had a good clip like that, I'd be like, well, I don't want a clip like that to go to waste. That was nice tracking. I want to get the kill. So I would drop down and finish him off. Because now it's too late. Now it's too late. Because Ana's in the LOS. He's like full HP again. Just too late. Nice making him waste his tire. That was really good. Yeah, you just used your recall. Okay, wait, sorry, I don't mean to I don't want to sound toxic at all because I don't mean to. But you did just use your recall and then blinked like into the enemy team. When you use your recall, no, say what you mean. I am saying exactly what I mean, but there's definitely a right like a nice way and a dick way to, you know, do stuff. Like if I was just like wow, you're so fucking bad, why is your positioning so bad? That's not helpful. But okay. Fuck. So yeah, you recalled, and what I would have done after recalling, and this way you should pretty much do whatever you recall. Whenever you recall, don't have recall. Is just poke and play corners, so that if you get pressured out, you don't have a recall to use, so you can just use the corner to escape. But yeah, in this case, you recalled and then like blinked in here, and you're kind of just fucked. Yeah. So let's see what you did again. Yeah. So yeah, just when you don't have recall, just play it very safe. Just poke and try to distract them, but don't hard commit on anything. Unless you have a very obvious advantage, like your team has picks, or like I don't know, let's just say your team is using beat, or you have a BAP window in front of you, or there's a Creeko ult, or there's like some obvious advantage in which case you can still engage, but thought it was the enemy Lucia. One sec. All right. So your goal after every fight ends, no matter whether you're in a defensive or attacking position, is to just like as soon as possible and safely, as soon as it is safely possible to do so, just get in the best possible positioning that you can. So the way I see it is that you're on the high ground here. I think your team is like, wait, where's your team at? Your team is still mostly like respawning. Yeah, your team's still mostly respawning. So since you're already here and your team's still respawning, you missed a perfect opportunity to just like set up for the next fight. So instead of like poking here and giving away your position, I would have used the opportunity to actually come all the way around and end up like over here, because you have the time to do it. So you want to end up over here and not have been scouted doing so that when your team is ready to engage, you're just here and you're maybe here shooting at their Ana in the head. And if you get pressured out, mini right here. Recall, if you get pressured out even more, mini right there, mega there. And that's pretty much just how you play this, is you want to play around health packs where possible. You want to play behind them where possible. And while it's not so clear how you could possibly do it that much on this map, on this point, you want to play above them where possible. Like if you could get up here or something, that'd be great, because you can just shoot them from up here, and then the moment they pressure you, you just drop down. But getting up there on Tracer is I mean, you have to waste a blink to do it, and oftentimes there's already going to be people looking at you, so you can't afford to waste blinks to take positioning in that case, unless it's to escape. Yeah, I like how you don't use your recall when you know you can just get out with your blinks. That's really good. If you can just get out with your blinks, just save your recall, of course. It's really good. I assume you used both your blinks here because you double blinked into them because you knew she was 1 HP. Oh no, you didn't, because she wasn't. I think I would trying to do farm alt there. Yeah, it's good to farm alt. And if you have the time to do it while still being able to take a good position without getting scouted, then go for it. But I think in that case, since you're crossing open sight lines, everyone's just going to know exactly where you're going. When you want to poke for alt before a team fight starts is if you've already been scouted so that you weren't able to take a good position without, you know, them knowing you're there. If they've scouted you and they're pressuring you, that's a good opportunity before a fight to farm alt charge. Otherwise, I would just focus mostly on trying to rotate to the position, the best position you're able to get. Because, like, being here before where you are literally right now, before the fight starts with 3 blinks, is way better than having 10% extra alt charge, in my opinion. And being in a bad position. But this was bad, to be honest, what you did here. Because, I mean, it's great that you got the kill on the sim, but you did not know that you were gonna... Yeah. Yeah, you just were trying to get in this position. But the thing is, this is a really aggressive position. And it's one where you could get... It's one where you want to have all your blinks, essentially. If you're here... How are you even Masters? Because you're actually really good. Dude, trust me. Like, if I was VOD reviewing a gold player and I was as brutal as them as I am on you, and I am being brutal on you compared to a gold player because I expect more out of a Masters player, and obviously you're capable. But like, if I was doing this same level of critique with a gold player, like, we would still be like here in the video. Like, we'd be like here. We wouldn't even fucking walked out of spawn yet, buddy. I would still be explaining to him how to set up his fucking settings and, like, lower his sense from 25 to something reasonable. Like, it's only because you're actually pretty good that the universe has enough time for us to get through this VOD review. But yeah, here you just don't double blink to get into this position. Instead, what you could have done is right here. Instead of poking and doing what you did, you just use your resources to get here. And you can still farm alt charge, because this guy's rotating. You literally just shoot this guy in the face and get like 50 alt charge while he's still rotating to point. And then his supports are going to have to heal him up while your team is coming in from here. And, uh-oh! You're at a bit of a resource deficit, and you're about to get fucked up the ass again. but yeah, so I would have just came over here, and then by the time this guy is actually engaging on your front line, you're here, pressuring the sauna with all of your abilities. Yep. Fucked right in the ass. It's not what they were expecting. Anyway, let's see what you do after this though. No, so I agree with you recalling there because the Ana was gonna sleep you. I'm actually surprised she didn't sleep you sooner. I like how you're not just blinking immediately when she looks at you, because you know she's not going to try to sleep you right away. Or you want to try to bait her sleep, I mean. But she was doing a good job of holding on to her sleep for as long as possible. And then everything else you did really well. After that. You learned that from me? Pog. You know, as a streamer, not even a streamer, like just a guy who like sometimes streams, you can't even call myself a streamer. Who has like not so many viewers. It's nice to know that I actually have some positive effect. I'm able to teach some amount of the Tracer knowledge that I've wasted my last 5 years of life accumulating. I remember VOD reviewing you too, Nudge. I think that was on Dorado, wasn't it? Back when you were a silver player. Those were the days. So I like how you hear the far and you're looking up to try to see where she's at. I like how you're going on him because he's walking in a straight line and doesn't know who you are. You position... See, this is what I mean. On the previous point, you did the equivalent of just walking up here. Fuck, I hate this. Sorry. Just walking up here with your team. This is pretty much what you did on the last point, is you came up here with your team. But what you need to do on every point is do what you did here and know that their team's going to go that way. So you take the off angle and you come around here. And this is exactly where you want to go as Tracer. So you pathed perfectly this time, and it led to their Kree not being aware of you because you didn't get scouted, and it led to him having predictable movement because he thought he was safe, and that allowed you to get a free kill. But if you were just standing where you were before, let's like not where you actually were before, but like the equivalent essentially playing here. That Kree will see you instantly and shoot you in the head. And it's just like, that's not helpful, to say the least. Anyway, so anyway, yeah, I like how you positioned this time around. Much better than the last round, for sure. One other thing though. The team calls out to focus the Orisa there. Don't focus the Orisa as Tracer. Don't focus the tank as Tracer unless they're literally 1 HP or they're below half and you're gonna pulse bomb them, or their supports are dead already. Because if their supports aren't dead or any of those other things I just said aren't the case, you're never going to fucking kill her. Just Immortal. Just ignore your teammates in that case and shoot their supports instead. I recalled because Farah one shot. I'll take a redo. Yes, but what I was gonna say is that in this situation, you get him to 1 HP. You have 2 blinks, man. Just like either blink through him 180 and shoot him one more time and then recall, or don't recall even. You don't even have to recall if you just kill him. And then you can save your recall. But here you got him so low, all you have to do is like blink through him, either do a 180 and shoot him once, or just blink through him, wait a second, and do the trick where you blink back through him backwards and shoot him. And that's literally all you have to do here. And then you can probably I would recommend, of course, just blinking through him, 180 and shooting, but that is yeah, I mean, either would be better than using recall, but yeah, if you just blink through him 180 and shooting, you're using 1 blink instead of 2, and then you still have your recall plus a blink, and you can dodge 1 shot from the Farah and get to a position where she can't shoot you anymore, and then wait for more blinks. So This is like you're usually really good at it from what I've seen in the last round, but if you can help not to use your recall, don't. Your recall is like a last resort, an absolute last resort, if nothing else will save you. We kind of rolled them on this point. Alright, well, then I won't focus too hard on this round, probably. And also, there might be a... Oh, nice tracking. Nice tracking. Woo! Clean. Oh, I like how you're trying to spawn camp him here. That just sucks that you got scouted by the Pharah. Did she know you were there the whole time? Let's see what happened here. Let's see if you could have done something better. No. No. You did this about the best you could. Because there's no way you could get back to a position where you could spawn camp him without getting scouted, I don't think. I mean, actually, remember what I said about positioning too. Ideally, you want to be on high ground as well as behind them. So if you could instead of having blinked across here and been here, where this Lucio can come back and pressure you, as far as can come pressure you as she did, you could have blinked, or you could have jumped onto this railing and then actually triple blinked or double blinked onto high ground here, and then you would be here. It would be impossible for anyone on their team to contest you, and you would just be here when their soldier is coming through. And that would be even more beneficial because if you can just shoot him from the high ground. And if you get in trouble, you're just on high ground, so you just pretty much walk backwards and you're safe. That's the benefit of being on the high ground. Or even if you have to recall, you're still on high ground and he can't get up to you. And yeah. So I think that's pretty much what I want to say. Didn't know you could blink up there? Yep. So you can, in fact, jump on this railing and then blink onto this rock and then jump up onto here. I think you have to double blink onto the rock from the railing. I don't do this one this much, but in this case where you got an early pick and you're trying to spawn camp here, I probably would have done that. Because what you did here, it's like, it's not a, you have the right idea. Sorry, Maria just made a sound. What was that sound? Maria just made some weird ass sound. Sorry. Anyway, Maria's just yelling now. Sorry, I'm just listening to Maria in the background. Yeah, I have no idea. When you're trying to spawn camp, it's just as important as ever to not get scouted, essentially. Because if you get scouted when trying to spawn camp, they'll just say, hey, soldier, there's a tracer trying to spawn camp you. And even if, like, you're better than him, they'll probably peel for him too, so you're not going to get the kill. So it's very important not to get scouted when you're spawn camping, or at the very least, be in a position where, when spawn camping, where it's hard for them to peel and pressure you. Because if you come up here, pretty impossible for any of them to get to you. The Lucio can, but if he chases you on his own, then he's throwing, because you just kill him. So yeah, I like your idea of spawn camp. It's just you have to do it in a way where, you know, they're not just gonna be able to force your recall, and I assume that's what happens. Because right here, like, the Lucio is not paying attention to you, but the Pharah was paying attention to you and peeled for their soldier, who knew you were there because the Pharah was shooting the angle. You had to use your recall, and you should have died. If they were a little bit better, they would have killed you. And the only reason you should have died there is because you were playing. You used your blinks to put yourself in a position where they could easily just chase you. Uh-oh. I mean, like, I'm not gonna drill you too much for this, but this was also really risky. What you did was you blinked here, and you saw the Kree shooting at you. So you try to come out this way, but you're just in open space for way too long. When you're in a position where you're trying to get out, but they are pressuring you and you might die, you need to use cover and try to limit the amount of time you're in open space. So if that crew was better, like, he would have just killed you here. But since we have 2020 hindsight here, we can just say you could have just literally walked around this rock and been fine. Just literally walk around the rock, man. It's not that hard. Just walk around the rock, grab the health pack, and blink here. But yeah. Lol rock. Forehead, yeah. Yeah. Yep, rock. Also, you made the mistake of being 80 HP and turning around to face him. If you're under 80 HP against the McCree, or I mean, if you're under 140 HP, he can one-shot you with a headshot. So what you wanted to do in that situation to minimize your chance of dying was to lower your head to the ground, facing away from him, and aiding like this. So you were here approximately looking at him like this. You should have been looking at the ground like this and 80 crouching. Definitely want to be aware of breakpoints, like the fact that under 140 HP you're vulnerable to dying instantly if they have a Kree to headshot. If they have a Widow with a Mercy Pocket, you gotta be completely aware that at any moment you can die to a singular body shot. But in this case, when their Kree is looking at you and just hit you and you're 80 HP, you don't want to turn to face them because that makes it so much easier to hit your head. Like I said, just look at the ground, 80 crouch until you have another blink, and blink into cover. You have such good tracking, though. The way you're tracking the map is really good. Wow. I like how the Kree didn't hit me. Yeah, that was pretty nice of him. Okay. Pog. Well, anyway. My voice is getting sore from talking so much. Holy fuck. But GG 20 plus SR. Pog. Well, anyway, I hope you I hope that was instructive. Will you save this VOD? Yeah, I'm gonna upload it to YouTube if that's okay with you. The VOD review. Probably. Okay. Yeah, so I hope that was instructive. Like, I hope there was some good things to take away from that.